As a light travels through the darkness, the female practices the sounds of the English language until she manages to get the accent right. Meanwhile, in the mountains of Scotland, a biker rides as fast as possible until he stops near a dangerous road. He then walks into a ditch and disappears for a few seconds before coming back with a woman's dead body, which he throws in the back of a van. Afterward, in a mysterious white space, the female takes the dead woman's clothes and puts them on, ready to take over her mission. There's an ant on the body, and the female picks it up to stare at it for a while. Then she appears in a run-down building and goes outside to take the van while the rider leaves on his bike. The female drives to the nearest mall to purchase some extra clothes and makeup. After putting everything on, she drives around the city while meticulously watching all the men on the streets. The crowded areas aren't working, so she makes a turn to reach a quieter neighborhood and stops the van to talk to a guy walking alone. She pretends she needs directions, and the man gladly helps her before they chat for a while. The woman seems interested in knowing if he has friends and leaves when she hears he's meeting somebody in a few minutes. This process is repeated throughout the rest of the day. The female pretends she needs directions as a way to chat with men and always leaves if they tell her they have people in their lives. If she hears that the police are nearby, she drives off without a word. When she finds lonely men with no friends or family, she offers to give them a ride. During the trip, she flirts with the guys until they agree to get naughty with her. She takes them to another run-down building and undresses very slowly, using it as a way to keep the man's eyes on her. The guy desperately undresses faster as he approaches her, only to fall for her trap as he disappears into the floor. It turns out the female is an alien pretending to be human to capture men and send them to her planet as food. The dead woman from the beginning was also an alien hunter, and she had to be replaced after her death. As time passes, the female continues to hunt by driving around and picking up men that fit her criteria. Eventually, she makes it to the beach where she watches a couple and their baby playing on the shore and a man swimming alone. When he comes out of the water, she chats with him and asks him the usual questions. The moment is interrupted by a scream. The family woman has jumped into the water to try to rescue a dog, but the harsh waves are making it hard to swim. Her husband soon follows her, but he's also having trouble, so the experienced swimmer jumps in to help as well. The alien watches all this from her spot without the intention of seeking assistance. After lots of struggle, the experienced swimmer manages to bring the husband back to the shore. However, the guy runs back to the water to search for his wife, who has already been taken away by the waves. The experienced swimmer is too tired to help again after his efforts were wasted, and the alien comes closer to watch him for a second. Then she grabs a rock and hits him in the head to knock him out. While the female drags the swimmer on the ground, the abandoned baby keeps crying, yet the alien ignores it. In the evening, while the female is taking the body away in her van, the biker arrives to pick up all of the swimmer's things. The baby is still there crying and is ignored again. Later in the city, the female is more aware of kids crying in random spots like the back of the family car. While she waits at the traffic lights, the guys in the car next to her start yelling nasty, naughty things at her. The alien decides to follow them until the car parks near what appears to be an abandoned building. She gets out of the van to approach the guy, but she has to quickly turn around when a group of excited women appears nearby. It turns out the building is actually a club. The group notices that the alien is alone and immediately surrounds her, saying they'll be their friend as they drag her into the club. The female is so confused that she doesn't know how to act in a human-accepted way, so she doesn't fight back. The club is incredibly loud and crowded, which overwhelms the female. She takes advantage of the chaos to abandon the group and sneak through the crowd until she finds the back quarters. Desperate to leave, she rushes to the nearest door. But instead of the exit, she finds a lounge area with more people. The cat-calling guy is there, too, and immediately starts flirting with her, so she dances with him until he agrees to go to the apartment with her. As usual, she undresses slowly to keep the man's attention on her while he slowly falls into her trap. The naked man finds himself floating in a dark space and sees one of the previous victims nearby. His body looks strange, as if in some sort of pseudo-Rosen preservation. They try to talk, but no sound comes out of their mouths. The men stretch their hands and manage to touch each other's fingers for a few seconds before the previous victim floats away. Suddenly, a loud bang noise echoes in the dark room, and the first victim pops like a balloon, leaving only his wrinkly skin. It shrivels into a shapeless mass that just floats in the darkness for the other man to admire. Meanwhile, all the inner parts of the victims are on a conveyor belt, being transported to a bright hatch. A series of lights signifies nourishment reaching the aliens. The next day, the female is waiting in traffic. A flower boy brings her a rose, explaining that it was sent by the man in the expensive car. When she puts the flower on the passenger seat, she notices some blood stains and is shocked to realize her hand is bleeding. It turns out the rose thorns have pricked her. On the radio, a reporter announces that the husband's dead body has been found on the beach, but the wife and the baby are missing. They were missing all weekend, but people only noticed today because they didn't show up for work. The Coast Guard went out to look for them, but the search has been paused because of the fog. The female is supposed to spend her day hunting more men, but she ends up observing women and children instead. Eventually, she forces herself to follow her mission and picks up a man, but during the ride, she isn't as flirty as usual. In fact, she barely talks at all, so the guy feels a little awkward. However, she manages to take him to the dark room anyway. Sometime later, the female is in a different dark room where the biker inspects her closely. He appears to be suspicious of her becoming too human, but after watching her for a while, he has nothing to prove it, so he leaves. Afterward, the alien walks down the street and accidentally trips. Her fall leaves her lying with her face on the pavement, yet she refuses to move. Eventually, people surround her and help her stand up while asking her questions to check on her state of mind, but she just keeps walking without a word. As she wanders, she starts watching humans as individuals for the first time, noticing all ages, races, and genders, all the different emotions and lifestyles. That night, the female is driving the van again and stops when she sees a man walking alone. However, she doesn't go after him. Suddenly, a different guy appears at her window and talks to her, but she can't hear him through the glass. She rolls down the window a little bit, only to hear the loud rumble of the passing train. At that moment, the guy's gang surrounds the van and starts pounding on the vehicle. One of them even jumps on the hood. They keep telling her to come out, but she just stares for a second before driving away. Moments later, the female stops the van when she sees a man with a deformed face. She asks for directions as usual and convinces him to let her give him a ride. Then she tries to flirt with him, but it's harder because she can't use the usual compliments. She tells him that he has beautiful hands and asks about his life, so he explains that he goes to the grocery store at night to avoid judgmental crowds who mock him. He doesn't have anyone in his life and never had a girlfriend, so he doesn't know what it's like to be touched kindly. The alien grabs his hand and guides it to touch her cheek and neck while convincing him to come home with her to get naughty. The man has to pinch his hand to believe this is truly happening. In an abandoned building, the female guides the deformed man to the dark room. This time, there's a mysterious shiny silhouette watching them. The man keeps getting distracted by it, so the alien takes off her bra to keep his eyes on her. When he asks if he's dreaming, she says that they both are. Tonight, the female has to take all her clothes off before the man finally falls into her trap. The alien inside her feels something twisted about the situation. On her way out, the female notices a dirty mirror and can't stop staring at her own reflection. She only snaps out of it when she hears a fly tapping on the door. It's then revealed that the deformed man is still alive, and she abandons him outside the building before going away in the van. Without any clothes on, the man wanders through the fields in a dazed state. Meanwhile, the biker speeds his way through the mountain roads until he reaches a small town. He stops at a house and checks the car at the front, breaking the window to reach the controls and open the trunk. Then he moves to the garden where he finds the deformed man climbing through the fence. A second later, the biker puts the body in the car trunk and drives away. This is all seen by a neighbor who is too shocked to react. The next day, the female arrives at a beach that is currently covered by heavy fog. As she wanders around, she can hear birds chirping and a man singing in the distance. Soon, she leaves the fog to walk down a road in the middle of nowhere, leaving the van behind. Moments later, the alien is sitting in a restaurant and orders a slice of chocolate cake. She tries it for the first time and immediately spits out in disgust, causing other clients to stare at her. Then, she returns to the road to try to leave this small mountain town, but a man tells her that the bus will arrive soon, so she decides to sit and wait. Later on the bus, the driver keeps trying to chat with her, but she ignores him. A passenger checks on her, and the driver tells her to leave her alone, but the female tells him that she does need help. They get off the bus together, and the man gives her his jacket before they enter the grocery store. After buying a few things, they go to his house, and the alien is extra aware of the neighbors watching her. The man makes lunch for both of them and puts on a comedy show on TV. The female doesn't touch her food and is confused by humor, so she never laughs. While washing the dishes, the man listens to music on the radio, and his body shakes to the rhythm. The female taps her hand to the music, finally getting the hang of something human. When it's time for bed, the man gives her some tea and a heater, leaving her alone in the guest room. The alien takes off her clothes and stares at her body in the mirror as if truly noticing the details for the first time. In the meantime, the biker finds the dirty mirror in the abandoned house. Then, he gathers his team and shares the information, so they split off in several directions to start the search. In the morning, the female and the man go for a walk. When they encounter a deep puddle, he picks her up before crossing it. Next, they visit the ruins of an old castle, and the alien is overwhelmed by the height. The man helps her come down the stairs with kind words, guiding her through every step until they reach the bottom. Back in the house, the female closes her eyes and lets the man kiss her. Things escalate quickly, and soon they reach the bed. However, when the man tries to go in, he can't find the way. The alien touches her groin and is confused by what she finds, so she grabs a lamp to take a better look. It turns out she doesn't have any holes, since the human body is supposed to be merely a costume. Devastated by the realization that she'll never have a full human experience, the female puts on her clothes and runs away in the rain. In the woods, she bumps into a forest ranger who tells her that he understands the need for some solitude, but also warns her that it's easy to get lost here. After wandering for a while, she finds a stone hut that was built for hikers to take shelter. She goes inside and stares at the fireplace, which is covered in black soot. Then, she zips up her coat and huddles in a corner to take a nap. Sometime later, the female wakes up to find the ranger touching her without consent. She immediately pushes him off and runs away, always looking behind her to make sure she isn't being followed. In the woods, she hides behind a big plan and waits until she's sure that nobody is coming. Then she runs to the nearest road and finds a logging truck. So she climbs into the driver's seat. At that moment, the ranger appears on the road, and the female desperately honks the horn to ask for help. But nobody shows up. She has no choice but to start running again. So now the ranger is chasing her through the forest. In just a few minutes, he manages to catch her and throw her to the ground. As he sits on her lap and starts taking her clothes off, the female keeps fighting back. After lots of struggle, she manages to escape from his grasp, and the man stares in shock at his hands before looking at her. He's ripped off her clothes so violently that he's peeled the skin of her human disguise as well. The ranger runs away in horror while the alien wanders around feeling dizzy and in pain. Eventually, she collapses and has no choice but to remove the broken costume. She puts the head on her lap and stares at the blinking eyes, coming to terms with the fact that she'll never be human. Suddenly, the ranger comes back and pours gasoline on her. The alien tries to walk away, but it's too late. The man throws a match and sets her on fire. The female keeps running until she finally drops dead. The biker watches from the top of a mountain as her body becomes nothing but ashes, releasing a cloud of very dark smoke into the sky. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.